They were good at these areas, but they sucked at that area. And over time, you're training your muscles in exactly what you need to look for, right? And so that's one. The number two is you always hire someone and you're like, oh, they're pretty good, right? But you don't know what really good looks like because you've never seen really good.
Before the pandemic, back in 2019, Allan founded Vroom with a clear mission to solve one of the insurance industry's biggest challenges. That may apply to your industry too, with consistent lead generation and conversion. Unlike traditional agencies that focus solely on clicks and impressions, which we all know may not lead to dollars, his media group delivers turnkey marketing solutions that drive conversations, appointments, and measurable business growth for clients. And I'm certainly excited. So let me bring him on all the way out in Canada. Thank you so much, Allan, for joining us here on That Entrepreneur Show.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
Well, I hope this is a little more excitement than the snow you just shared behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How often will it keep snowing usually in the year? How long?
Oh, anywhere from like October, you can start to see snow until April.
Oh, wow. Well, we're indoors today. We've got a great conversation ahead. And everyone, let me welcome you back to That Entrepreneur Show. My name is Vincent A. Lancy. And remember to subscribe to stay current with our amazing entrepreneurs that join. And again, today, we're bringing on a Canadian entrepreneur, digital marketing expert, and of course, the founder and CEO of Vroom. He's found ways to sustain, scale. We're going to talk about why most businesses stall when growth depends on the founder, how to productize services so scale doesn't mean more people and everything in between. But let's go back in time here, Allan. What led you to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so when I was in growing up, my grandfather ran a business, like a wholesale business, wholesale food specifically. My dad was an accountant, but he was more of an entrepreneurial accountant because he always worked for himself. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So I was never really exposed to an environment of the corporate setting. So, but I always thought I wanted a big job and work at a big company and get a lot of this clout, right? Because you always want what you don't have, right? Because you take what you have for granted. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, but I wanted to go the opposite direction and pursue a corporate path. But I always had entrepreneurial inclinations despite this. Like in university and high school, I used to sell books, I resold test banks, anything to do in school. I sold random things like textbooks. I always found a way to make money. Then after that, I started a job, a corporate job at a big accounting firm. After university, I became an accountant. In Canada, it's called the licensed CPA. I absolutely hated that. And I did that for 3 years and I felt like I was in jail. So after that experience, I felt like anything I would do would be better. And honestly, it was. And so I did that, absolutely hated my life for 3 years to the point where I just hated it. I was like, I'd rather be homeless than be some kind of monkey in this type of environment. And it just wasn't for me. Maybe it is for someone. And if it is for you, hats off to you. Like, great, right? But everyone has their own life, their own strengths, weaknesses, and fortunes, and what they like and don't like. So I kind of hated that. Started flipping sneakers while I was in my corporate job. Almost got fired a couple times. I was admittedly not the best employee. I'm not built for the corporate world. And then after that, kind of left that environment after 3 years, started my first business, official business with an LLC and my website and all of that. And that was a tutoring business. I partnered with a gentleman I went to high school with, and I wish him nothing but the best, but we ended up parting ways after about a year to a year and a half of that business. But I learned a lot. I think the big part of entrepreneurship is putting in your stripes and kind of building yourself and developing your skill set. And that was sort of my formative years where I really learned marketing because I realized if we didn't do any marketing, we'd go out of business in a matter of days. So, marketing and sales are the two most high value skills on a standalone to most businesses, not every business, but to most businesses, especially if you're selling a product, service, or a software or something like that.
You said so many great things there. And like you, I found myself in corporate finance, right? And I was at PwC as well doing accounting, and it turned out not to be the path for me. And I think it's important, like he said, it could be for some people, but if it's not telling you something in your gut, right, it's time to pivot to something new. He had shared some earlier businesses that didn't go the way he thought. You hear that a lot, right? I started school speaking and then COVID came. Similar to you, COVID came shortly after you launched your current business, but you had the lessons learned from your previous ventures. I'd love to dive right into what you're doing now. Let's talk about Vroom.
Yeah, so Vroom Media, we're a marketing agency. We work in a couple verticals. A lot of what we do is in the financial services space. We work with clients of all shapes and sizes. Some of them are single advisors, others are large firms with many advisors. We also work in a couple of other verticals, but it's mostly lead generation, and we generate leads for our clients. We vet them. We use some AI to nurture the leads, etc.
Let's talk about what you just said there, using AI for leads. If this is new to anyone tuning in, where do they start?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is you need to know your ICP, right? And so I think the biggest mistake most business owners make is they don't even know who they want to target. And so I've had clients like that in the past. Now we don't work with people like that because we really want to be very specialized and have clients that know exactly who their avatar is. So let me give you an example. If you're working with accountants, there's different types of accountants, right? I used to be an accountant at Deloitte. You worked at PwC. There's those that specialize in tax. There's those that maybe do cost segregation, right? Which is a really big niche within real estate, right? That's very valuable for people in that space. Or something like maybe accountants that do fractional CFO work, or accountants that offer bookkeeping, or accountants that offer bookkeeping for e-com stores, right? So if you can hone in exactly on your avatar, you're going to get way better results out of your marketing because you can really sell to the same type of client, their pain points, and they'll trust you a lot more because you fundamentally understand what they want at a higher level, right? So maybe e-com stores want to know how to manage their cash flow because they're struggling to have access to enough capital to grow because it's a very capital intensive business where you have to buy inventory, right? So you can have an offer that's really tailored to that type of segment of the market. Or if you're doing fractional CFO work, maybe you work with businesses that are doing 10 to 20 million a year and trying to scale to 100 million a year, and you have this very niche expertise, and by doing that you become a lot more valuable because the guy who's a master of everything is a master of nothing, right? So really the first thing that marketing entails is knowing exactly who you want to work with. And I believe that 90% of business owners, if not more, don't know who they work with. They work with everybody with a credit card. And the reason they do that is because they don't have enough lead flow coming in. And it's like a two-edged problem. But if you don't know who you want to work with, of course you're not going to have enough lead flow because you're not doing what you need to do to get in front of them, right? So the first thing that any business owner needs to do, whether you own a service-based business, a product-based business, like a software or product, I mean inventory, right? Like an e-commerce store, you all these businesses are at a high level almost the same conceptually to be able to grow them, right? So you really have to hone in on who you want to target, what their pain points are, and have messaging that specifically calls out that pain point, because at the end of the day your messaging in your marketing is going to dictate the quality of people that you're talking to or that are coming in.
Yeah. And I can relate what you said there in the beginning, right? Appealing to everyone. In the beginning, as an entrepreneur, you don't want to miss any paychecks, right? You don't want to miss any money. And you think that, oh, if I advertise to everyone, I'll get everyone. That's not the case. We learned that here today with Allan. We want to niche down, right? And find exactly what we're specializing in. Big shout out to Shane Smith, who always talks about niching down and then niching down again, right? So I absolutely love that. But I know something that you love adding value to in all the podcasts and conversations you do is that mistakes that cost time and money and what that you would do differently today. I'd love to dive into this because I think there'd be a lot of overlap with our audience.
Perfect. First thing I would do is I would hone in on an avatar. I would first move slow and steady because slow and steady wins the race. But you want to really have an offer that resonates well with people. So, for instance, if you have a service based business, and there's one type of client that really stands out because you get them exceptional results, you want to fairly quickly niche down on them, right? So, hey, I specialize in email marketing for e-com stores that sell supplements. That's an example of a niche, right? It's not just I specialize in email marketing, I specialize in email marketing for e-com stores that sell supplements. Because, for example, e-com stores that sell supplements, they have like, a lot of their revenue comes from recurring. So if you can build them good email flows, you become incredibly valuable. Or if you offer advertising services, maybe you specialize in doing advertising for real estate wholesalers, right? Very specific segment of the market. So that's the first thing. Once you have an offer and once you have a segment of the market that you deliver for, ultimately you want to make sure that your service gets better. So over time, you don't want to stagnate. You want to make sure you're consistently making iterations, getting client feedback, and making your services better. Be it, and I can't tell you what to do to make it better because you have to get that feedback from your clients, right? So once you do that, you have a solid foundation and then you can start to scale. And so scale means getting more and more clients, building more and more systems, and streamlining operations so that it becomes possible to remove yourself from the day to day, or not all of the day to day, but certain elements of the day to day, so that you can free up more and more of your time and focus more on sales and marketing, which is what are the most high level needle moving activities for most business owners.
I love how you just said that, and you just gave us a lot of great sales advice, right? Everyone, be sure to stick around to the end of the episode. We're going to find out exactly how to get in touch with Allan. So now we'll pivot to marketing. Like you just said, say there's someone in the beginning of entrepreneurship, or they're like you, they're scaling, but marketing isn't going the way they hope. What advice can you offer?
Yeah, I mean, if marketing isn't going the way you hope, so one is, are you using the right channel? So that's something you need to evaluate yourself or consult with an expert, right? So if you have a B2B offer, are you using the right channel? There's channels like social ads, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, these platforms. You have search-based ads like Google, Bing, right? A lot of people underestimate Bing, but it's very powerful, and YouTube as well, right? So these are more search-based. And then you've also got other platforms like maybe LinkedIn. So you need to make sure, number one, that you're using the right platform. Assuming you're using the right platform where your customers are, you need to make sure you have the right message. Maybe you're on the right platform, but your message isn't resonating with people, right? So, like, the better you can understand your customers, the more you can have a message that tailors to their pain points. So, a really great example is like, let's say you do marketing for accountants going back. Like maybe the best clients for you are accountants that want more fractional CFO clients. So if you're advertising and you're advertising, oh, we help accountants get more clients. Number one, they're not going to trust you. Hey, what kind of clients? But if they can see that you can get them more fractional CFO clients, which is a very valuable client for them, where they're making a couple grand a month, they're going to resonate a lot more with that message. And you're going to get a lot more of the type of people that you want because the accountant that's already doing well, he probably only wants fractional CFO clients because he's so busy. They're the most lucrative. So it's audience, which comes from channel, and it's messaging, which comes from understanding your clients. Marketing can only do so much if you don't understand clients, right? So another really important thing is you want to understand the terminology that your clientele use. So for example, if you're targeting home improvement professionals, they call their clients jobs. So if you say get more customers, they're going to be like, this guy's a newbie. We call our clients like, oh, I'm going to get more roof replacement jobs. And again, this all relates to niching down. But the more you niche down, the more you can understand your customers. And the more you can understand your customers, you can prepare better marketing messages because you fundamentally understand their pains, what keeps them up at night, etc.
I love all the things you said there. Absolutely love what you said. And as you're doing these things, and you started off the show by leaving a business relationship where things weren't going well, right? A part of scaling and doing sales and doing marketing, you have to make hiring, right? What hiring mistake, Allan, cost you the most time or money early on? And then how did that reshape the way you started building your team?
Yeah. So something that's crazy is, I mean, I'm about 5 years in this business around there. And so basically, or maybe a little longer, but anyways, that's beside the point. So as long as I've been in this business, the last 5 years I've sucked at hiring, and now we're finally getting good. And I think initially you will be bad at hiring, and you need to understand that. But it's like a muscle. You go to the gym, you want to get six pack abs, shredded, 12% body fat. It's not going to happen. It takes years. And so if you want to get good at hiring in a month, you won't, right? You need to adjust your expectations or get out of business, right? It's hard, it's a long journey, and you see compounding over time. So the reason I'm mentioning all this is because I think now I'm finally getting better at hiring. And the reason why is like you learn from your mistakes, right? It's like, oh, I need a new client success person. Oh, I hired this person. They were good at these areas, but they sucked at that area. And over time, you're training your muscles in exactly what you need to look for, right? And so that's one. The number two is you always hire someone and you're like, oh, they're pretty good, right? But you don't know what really good looks like because you've never seen really good. So all you can cross reference is what you've seen. And so over time, you start hiring more and more people. And as you hire more and more people, you get exposed to more and more types of people and you learn to better tell what's good or what's bad. So right now, we're replacing a number of our team members with people that are way better. And that's setting the tone. Initially, as a young entrepreneur, even if you're old, doesn't matter. But like a newbie in business, you take whatever you can and you move with it. But over time, your standards become higher. And that also is really important because it sets a message to the team that, hey, if you slack, if you're not on your A game, we're going to replace you. So it forces them to elevate themselves if they want to remain as part of the company. And if they don't, it's probably best that you replace them anyways. So either way, it's a win-win for you and a win-win for your company.
Nothing like some friendly competition to motivate the team, right? And with that, we can learn from each other, right? You see the high performers, and now, at least with my company, the high performers, the ones that know, we have them train the rest of the team, right? Create that SOP to everybody get in the same stage. Everyone, we're brought to you today by Coming Alive podcastproduction.com. And before we find out which entrepreneur he would choose to sit down with, dead or alive, what's your goals for the rest of 2026 as you look ahead? Summer, fall, winter. What are you hoping to accomplish this year?
Yeah, so personally, I'm going to be traveling. I'm actually going to be traveling next Wednesday or Thursday. I leave for, so end of February. I leave for about 3, 4 months. I'll be traveling in South America, etc., different parts of the US as well. And then other than that, maybe I'll be back in Canada for a small period of time, but I want to travel, explore the world, etc. Business goals. We're growing aggressively. So one of our big goals right now in KPIs is to increase our average revenue per client. So rather than really focusing aggressively on getting hundreds of clients, we're adding additional services, and that's going to allow us to grow as a business and actually become more valuable and make our clients stickier because we're going to offer them more valuable service offerings to the same type of customer. So that alone will allow us to better filter out people, maybe get rid of the headache clients so that we can spend more of our time focusing on the best clients that my team and I love the most.
I absolutely love that advice. It's not about getting 100 clients who don't make sense for your company. It's about acquiring the ones that do, because then they'll be recurring clients, right? I'm grateful that most of ours renew and renew, which is always a good feeling. But now, in order to get to those points, right, we have to learn from others. We have to take in advice, be a sponge in entrepreneurship. There's no textbook. Allan, if you could choose to sit down with any entrepreneur, dead or alive, to pick their brain, who you going with?
If y'all like this answer, but I'll say Trump.
Okay, let's talk about why.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite controversial and all, but I just feel like you could learn a lot from him. And he's obviously been successful in business. He's become a president of the United States. He's very well known, built a brand, built a legacy. Whether you like him or hate him, I'm not here to comment on that. But I think there's a lot to learn, and I'd love to like meet him. I've also heard from other people, based on other podcasts I've listened to, that he's quite funny and he carries himself very well and has like a big presence in a room. So I'd love to see and experience that.
Let's delve deeper. Where would you meet President Trump?
I don't know. I guess he has a lot of security, so probably in one of his places like Mar-a-Lago or the White House or wherever.
I absolutely love the ambition that you showed throughout the episode. I appreciate you overseas taking some time to make the thing work. Everyone, now I get excited because I get to share his contact info. Please remember to subscribe to stay current, and please share this episode with someone that you would find value or is in need of his services. Allan, where can we find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Allan Khazak. You can find me on Instagram, ALNVR94. Those are the main places that are best. You can also email me, Allan@vroommediagroup.com, or you can check out my website, vroommediagroup.com. So any of those places are great to connect with me.
Appreciate you sharing that. And everyone, for LinkedIn, it's Allan, and then last name Khazak. My name is Vincent A. Lancy, and this is That Entrepreneur Show. We're all over social media. Please remember to share this episode again with someone who could use his service or will resonate with them most. We're brought to you again by ComingAlivePodcastProduction.com. Head there today to book your free call. And with that, Allan, we are signing off today. US to Canada. Thank you so much and have a safe travel.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I would love to hear your feedback. What did you love? What do you want to see more of? Are there any questions you would like me to ask the guests who come on the show? This show is not possible without you, the amazing listeners, so please email us at podcastbylancy@gmail.com and let us know what you think. We'll also feature you on a later show. Please remember to subscribe to stay current with our amazing community of guests who will continue to come on the show, sprinkled in with solo episodes from me, Vincent A. Lancy. With that, I look forward to introducing more shows to you each and every week. And with that, we're signing off today. Enjoy the episodes and make it a great day ahead.